In a quiet corner of Hamilton's McMaster University, something radical is taking place. The Afiara String Quartet is playing a concert, but this is no ordinary concert, and this is no ordinary concert hall.
I'm Laurel Trainer. I'm a professor of psychology, neuroscience, and behavior here at McMaster University, but I'm also the director of the LIVELab, which is the facility we're in right now.
A place where Laurel can see the way we think and feel about music.
We have very little information about how, say, musicians play together. How do they coordinate their movements to play together? How do audiences react to different things that they hear and that they see on the stage? In this lab, we have a whole bunch of technology that we can put to answering some of the questions we're interested in. And one of them is motion capture. Another big piece of technology we have in here is EEG. So we put sensors on people's heads and we can measure brain activity as they're performing.
Laurel and her team hope the motion capture and EEG results will help them understand the role music plays in even small, everyday interactions.
Well, we know that music has benefits in a number of domains. So we know, for example, that people that play music together end up helping each other more. They rate each other as liking each other more. So music has these social benefits, and we don't really understand why or how they occur.
That is where the Afiara String Quartet comes in.
We sought out Dr. Trainer because we thought that her work was terrific in terms of to see what happens with the way that we communicate in the quartet.
Putting a cap on top of his head. This cap has 64 channels, and we're going to put a little bit of gel into each hole.
I've actually never done this before, so I don't know what it's like to play, but it's like having a bicycle helmet on, I guess.
That's how I usually wake myself up in the morning.
Yeah.
And if I had like tons of coffee, would that help my brain waves? Because I feel like wired.
You know what, it might excite it a little bit, but it's not something that we would probably see in what we're looking at today.
Today, Laurel and her colleagues are looking at the way the quartet reacts to one another as they play.
When they're really in sync and it's going well, we're expecting that we're going to be able to see synchronization between the brains of the different musicians. So what you see here, each one of these channels represents a different location on one of the musicians' heads. When we analyze it, we can figure out where certain signals came from in the brain.
As Laurel expected, the lines of each musician's EEGs become more synchronized, just like the musicians themselves. But watch what happens when the quartet tries to play facing away from one another.
When we're playing together, where we're facing the correct direction, you can see how they're going to play something by how they're gesturing before the sound. When you turn around, you don't get that, and it's not unlike speaking with somebody on the telephone. You're still getting the information specifically, but maybe a little bit after the fact.
These motion capture images of the quartet confirm that disconnect. These data show they're not in sync. For the second half of the concert, Laurel and the quartet are taking audience participation to a new level.
Disconnect you and have you take a seat in the auditorium.
I think it's a very interesting phenomenon that people still like to go to concerts. One of the things that we're going to look at today is, do you feel socially connected with the other members of the audience? So is part of the reason you go because we like to experience music with other people.
As with the first experiment, Laurel and her team can track the audience response in real time.
With very rhythmic, fast rhythmic pieces, we'll probably see more motor cortex activation, so you have more of a tendency to want to move, even if you're not moving.
For the Afiara Quartet, LIVELab offers a rare peek into the brains and hearts of the audience.
We can be playing music that was written in the 1800s, in the 1900s, and be asking these questions of how is it reaching the audience, how are they reacting, and to be able to measure that, which we've never been able to do before, I think is pretty incredible that those two worlds can collide.
From worlds colliding to bringing people across the world together.
It forces us, in a sense, to cooperate with each other. And then that actually spills over into other aspects of life. And when you play music, you have to come to a collective agreement about how the piece is going to go. So there's something about musical behavior, and it's probably the reason why we have music in the first place.